Have you ever faced a challenge that seemed just too big to handle? Maybe it was a tough exam, a big game, or a problem that felt like a giant wall. Well, today we're diving into an amazing story from the Bible found in the book of Numbers about two guys named Joshua and Caleb who faced a challenge that was literally filled with giants and giant walls. It's a powerful lesson about choosing faith over fear. So, the story begins with the people of Israel. They had been wandering in the desert for a long time, and God finally told their leader, Moses, that it was time. It was time to enter the promised land, a beautiful and bountiful place God had promised to their ancestors. But before everyone packed their bags, God had a specific instruction from Moses: choose 12 men, one from each tribe, and send them to spy out the land of Canaan. Their mission was to check out the land, the people, and bring back a report. But then, two voices rose above the noise of despair. It was Joshua and Caleb. They stood up before all the people and tore their clothes, a sign of deep distress over the people's lack of faith. They held up the beautiful fruit from Canaan once more. The land we passed through and explored is exceedingly good, they declared passionately. If the Lord is pleased with us, He will lead us into that land, a land flowing with milk and honey, and will give it to us. So, these 12 spies, including our heroes Joshua and Caleb, set off on their secret mission. When they arrived in Canaan, they were absolutely amazed. Everything they saw was better than they could have imagined. The land was incredibly fertile. The cows were fat and healthy. The fields were filled with tall corn, and the gardens were overflowing with fruit trees and buzzing hives full of honey. It was a land truly flowing with milk and honey, just as God had promised. But the most incredible sight of all was the grapes. The grapevines were so loaded with fruit that the clusters were enormous, bigger than anything they had ever seen. In fact, to bring back just one cluster of grapes as proof, it took two men carrying it on a pole between them. Can you picture that? A single bunch of grapes so massive. It took two people to carry it. They also gathered pomegranates and figs, loading up with evidence of the land's incredible abundance. After 40 days, the spies returned to the camp of Israel, where Moses and all the people were eagerly waiting for their report. They started by showing everyone the amazing fruit. Look at this, they said, presenting the giant cluster of grapes. The land truly flows with milk and honey, and this is its fruit. Everyone must have been so excited. The promise was real, but then the tone of the report changed. 10 of the spies started to focus on the problems. But the people who live there are powerful, they said, their voices filled with fear, and the cities are fortified and very large. We even saw descendants of giants there, they continued, painting a terrifying picture. The walls are so high they reach the sky. We felt like grasshoppers next to them, and that's what they must have thought of us too. We can't attack those people. They are stronger than we are. Their words spread like wildfire through the camp. Fear and doubt replaced the initial excitement. The people began to cry and complain, saying it would have been better to stay in Egypt. They had lost all hope and forgotten God's promise and power. But then, two voices rose above the noise of despair. It was Joshua and Caleb. They stood up before all the people and tore their clothes, a sign of deep distress over the people's lack of faith. They held up the beautiful fruit from Canaan once more. The land we passed through and explored is exceedingly good, they declared passionately. If the Lord is pleased with us, He will lead us into that land, a land flowing with milk and honey, and will give it to us. They looked at the fearful crowd and continued, do not be afraid of the people of the land. Their protection is gone, but the Lord is with us. Do not fear them. Joshua and Caleb saw the same giants and the same high walls as the other 10 spies. The difference was their perspective, while the others saw obstacles. Joshua and Caleb saw God's promise. They chose to trust in God's power rather than their own strength. This story teaches us a timeless lesson. In life, we will all face giants. We will all come up against walls that seem too high to climb. And in those moments, we have a choice. We can be like the 10 spies, focusing on the size of our problems and letting fear paralyze us. Or we can be like Joshua and Caleb, focusing on the size of our God and moving forward with faith. They knew that with God on their side, no giant was too big and no wall was too high. It's all about where you place your focus. Do you focus on the fear or do you focus on the faith? Thanks so much for watching today. I hope this story encourages you. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. We'll see you in the next one. God bless you.